Next item we have is a rezone 13-4571 for the northwest corner of West Wedington Drive and North Golf Club Drive, Wedington Neighborhood Plan Zone 1. And Mr. Thompson, could you give us a step?
Yes, sir. Thank you. First of all, this rezone request is going to sound very similar to the one following, just to give you some warning. This subject property is, thank you, Andrew, is located north of Wedington Drive at the intersection of Wedington and Golf Club. The property is currently zoned RA, residential agricultural, and RSF1, that's residential single family, 1 unit per acre, very low density zones. The property contains over 11 acres undeveloped and forested property. The request is that this property be rezoned to UT, it's urban thoroughfare, as you know, property contained within this area is in the newly adopted Wedington Corridor Master Plan, and that was created with a large public design charrette process, in which more than 100 citizens gave input over a period of several days last year. The City Council approved this plan and identified the area surrounding this intersection just to the west with Rupel Road as a neighborhood center, saying that it should encourage traditional town form, walkable residential and commercial developments that would hope to serve as a heart of this neighborhood, which is lacking at this point. Staff finds that the proposed zoning is compatible and consistent with the goals of the Wedington Corridor Master Plan. The UT zone is designed specifically to provide goods and services to nearby residents, and as a form-based code, it encourages concentrated commercial and mixed-use developments that should enhance the function and appearance of major thoroughfares. That's the goal of this zone. Following the adoption of other recent master plans, Walker Park, Fayette Junction Master Plan, for example, staff has initiated rezonings to encourage the future development in these areas to occur according to the master plan, and we feel that this is the goal here. Staff has contacted property owners through certified letter on 2 occasions. A couple of letters, those have been signed for. No one has contacted, in this particular case, anyone in the planning department, as far as I know. With that, staff's recommending that you forward rezone 134571 to the full City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant available?
Why? Yes.
Oh, yeah, you are the applicant. Is there any comment from the public? I'm starting to lose it here. Could please state your name?
Aubrey Shepherd. I'm sure. Who's the applicant?
I am.
Property owner?
The City of Fayetteville.
The
is.
City of
City of
Fayetteville,
Fayetteville.
that's my mistake.
Okay, is asking to rezone it to allow development of that whole wooded site?
It's simply just a rezone.
Rezone, yes.
Correct.
But
The tree ordinance would still be in effect, and they would, so that the whole site would not be denuded of trees, obviously.
okay, so this is an idea to allow something to occur on there. And if I may ask someone who might know, Mr. Chairman, has part of this timber been removed in the last year or two?
As part of the what now?
Part of the timbered area been
I have
cleared?
absolutely no idea.
I have no idea. I don't believe so. I haven't seen any signs of that. It's possible.
Yeah,
I haven't been out there long.
I don't think the city monitors sites in that respect.
Unfortunately, that's probably true, Mr. Chairman. Someone who tells me about various things around town I don't always get to go take photos of was talking about, I think, this same parcel, that trees were being removed ahead of time for some reason. And that's
We,
why.
you know, the city
That's-
does overflights every year, and so when a project is brought forward for development, we can look back, and if trees have been removed improperly for 5 years in the past, then that they are required, the owner has to replant the trees if that has happened. So we do have overflights every year, and so we do monitor that when a project comes forward for development, but not just all the time when there's no development being proposed.
Yeah, so it's kind of up to the public to keep up with these things, and that's why I do some of that. But
Mr. Chair?
so many places are being stripped, and some of them ahead of time.
I'm gonna put you on hold for just a moment.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Thompson?
Yes, sir.
I would like to just perhaps back up a step and explain why we're initiating this.
I think that would help.
On one level, and then possibly to address the comments about the trees, our concerns about the trees. The first being that this is an area of town that we anticipate seeing, and we do see heavy development pressure in the future. And this zone this property is very likely to be rezoned in the near future, and that our goal at the city and the planning department under the master plan is to get the zones in place that we feel would meet the planning vision before a developer makes a request or comes up with their own thought what they would like to happen on the property. So at this time, there is no development proposed to my knowledge. This is strictly a rezone without any future development plan as far as planning staff knows. And in terms of the tree removal, I believe that a property owner is perfectly within his right to remove as many trees as he likes from the property, potentially, or particularly if he has if there is no plan to develop within the next 5 years. There's no penalty. There would be no penalty for that. So I'm not sure that just removing trees from the property that is there is any kind of violation.
Well, I understand it's not only in spirit, and I remember, I think I was actually in Little Rock during my 10 years down there, working at the newspaper, and thought our tree ordinance meant there would be no trees removed. And a lot of people thought that, and it's sort of gotten softened from where it actually started out, which was not that reality that we imagined was being talked about here. So that's why I'm asking, and in particular, what the city attorney cites is the 5-year thing, and I know some places where that's occurred, and sure enough, it didn't get developed for 5 years, and that was gratifying. But the trees didn't grow back, and it's all been torn up and developed since then. But yeah, if this zoning could be considered as more protective of the aspect of the natural trees that are there, those are irreplaceable. You won't see things planted there, even the youngest ones here, very large in your lifetime again. Remember that. It's not, we say we'll require 50 to be planted because of one big tree removal or a forested area such as this. It's a very healthy place. It's not going to work. There, Hill Place Apartments, for instance, they're constantly over the 3 years. I'm not sure, is this the 3rd year coming that they're responsible for protecting the saplings they planted there? And they've probably replaced the majority in these first 2 years because they're planted in places they'll die. They're planted in red dirt. They're planted with rock underneath that they put in the hole they dug. And they're not planted in anything like where the trees that were removed were growing. So that is my question, and maybe if you'd restate for the public, since I've distracted everybody, what zoning it would be nice. Thank you very much for your
Go right ahead,
attention.
Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Chair, the proposed zoning is UT, urban thoroughfare.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
Just curious what staff's thinking was with this one and the other one. Why in the next item, I'm sorry. And what was the thinking between urban thoroughfare versus community services? These are very close to each other, and I was trying to figure out what the logic was by selecting those for each individual property, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Sure. Well, it's really the question, I think, the way I like to think of it is, why is the other property CS? I think they both fit pretty well. This one is an excellent fit for UT on a thoroughfare such as this is. The request for CS on the adjacent property has to do with a couple of things. The other property already has more development on it, and we took that into consideration. Also, the other property is residential office zoning, the RO zoning, and the CS is more compatible with that zoning than it is with UT. Slightly, is that would that be your answer?
Yeah, I would agree with what Mr. Thompson discussed there, and then just to add on to that, as you kind of transition away from this intersection of Wedington and Rupel, we felt like then you kind of transition more into a residential or a lower intensity, and then actually going back into some of these neighborhoods. So we felt like urban thoroughfare, you picture that as more of the highest intensity, maybe even a potential big box location, maybe off of this corner. In this, we felt like, the convenience store transitioning to maybe some smaller, lighter commercial as you head closer to the neighborhoods.
Good. I was just curious.
Comments? Commissioner Hoskins.
Quinn, what's this property currently zoned?
This currently is zoned residential agricultural.
Okay. Okay. Basically,
Oh, excuse me, there's a small portion of it that is also residential single-family, 1 unit per acre, so RSF 1.
okay. Of course, naturally, this property is going to go some type of commercial. Going residential, single family is probably not likely.
That was the feeling of staff, yes.
And so, what is the tree canopy, minimum tree canopy for urban thoroughfare?
Mr. Hoskins, you're going to ask me that right now, aren't you?
Pop
Is it roughly something around 15%, maybe?
I believe it's right around that.
That's what I'm guessing.
Okay.
Okay, and so, which is pretty standard in most all of our commercial zones, right?
That's right.
Okay, so as far as this particular zoning and saving the trees, it's not gonna be any less environmentally friendly than any other commercial zoning. Right?
I believe so.
Okay, thanks.
That it?
That's it.
Motion? Comments?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Whitson.
Oh, okay, well, the right one. Am I on the right one? Is it Gulf Wedington neighbor? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So, move to forward to City Council the recommendation for approval rezone 13-4571 for Wedington Neighborhood Plan Zone 1.
Second.
Let's see, have a motion from Commissioner Winston and a second from Commissioner Hoskins. Mr. Gardner, will you please call the roll?
Bunch,
Yes.
Noble.
Yes.
Autry.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Honcho.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Winston.
Yes.
Motion carries.